And next up is volunteer guides in the Christchurch Botanic Gardens, Mr. and Mrs. Fleming. Yes, somebody will come and collect that for you. Thank you. And thank you for what you do while we're waiting.
It's a pleasure. Thank you.
Kia koutou katoa, Madam Mayor and councillors. We are Faye and Neil Fleming, and respectively we coordinate and train the volunteer Botanic Garden guides. Overall, our aim is to add to the value of our Botanic Garden guides, bring it into the top 20 or 30 in the world, and that requires at least two special components. One is the Botanic Gardens have to be involved in research, and they have to be involved in education. Without those, all that you have is a collection of plants, and you're just any other city garden. To be a Botanic Gardens, you have to be something special, even though some of our New Zealand gardens call themselves Botanic. Our aim is to enhance the education role to make our garden cities gardens truly a Botanic Garden. And we have some purposes and activities on the sheet that you've got, and Faye's going to deal with those.
Hello. We're the only Botanic Gardens in New Zealand that have a daily guided walk. We operate from mid-September to the end of April, every day except Christmas Day, offering a 90-minute guided walk that leads from the museum, because that's where most of the tourists are. We are a volunteer group, currently numbering about 20, and we have trained two cohorts of about 20 guides in 2003 and 2010. We're almost ready for another lot, and we began just prior to the year 2000. Training involves 45 hours of practical and learned skills in a course that takes over 5 weeks. We are under the aegis of the Friends of the Christchurch Botanic Gardens and return funds to them. These funds are used for special projects within the gardens. And for Raf Manji, our ward member, our activities cost the council nothing, and our guides all pay rates. We work closely with the garden staff and support their submissions. That's why today we're just addressing number 2 of our overall submission, because they have their own submission as well. So we closely support the garden staff and the curator, and the section curators are part of our monthly training programs. We add value to the tourist experience and enjoyment as they become part of the largest tourist attraction in New Zealand, with 1.4 million visiting the Botanic Gardens each year. We also offer local community groups specialised guided walks outside these daily service hours. We receive commendation and plaudits from those whom we guide, and we recently organised and ran a successful 5-day conference for Australasian guides in Botanic Gardens, and Madam Mayor attended that and spoke at it. 220 people attended, 95% from Australia, and that 95% probably also represents the figure for overseas tourists that we guide. Very few Christchurch local people go on a guided walk in what they regard as their gardens, which they know intimately, of course. We don't believe that, but nevertheless, our tourists make up 95%. To fulfil our overall aim, we would like to make the following submission. We need a base, and we request in the long-term plan that the old information centre is reserved as a multi-purpose site for community groups. We would use it for our educational activities, and also we meet monthly to go on training to extend our knowledge and to ensure that we offer a professional, competent and skilled service for those whom we guide. For that we need to store uniforms, gear, we need food, and for presenting to community groups and using audio-vision presentations with our training and our groups. We can't afford to use the wonderful visitors centre that you've just built because it's become a commercial venture largely dominated by V-Base and without any storage or meeting space available to us. The garden staff have an allocation for a certain number of hours in that visitors centre, but we are not a priority and nor do we expect to be a priority for those limited opportunities. We extend a warm invitation to any councillors and the Mayor to go for a guided walk. We can make it free, or your $10 could be returned back through to the friends and then back to the garden. So you would get it back again, as it were.
Yeah.
Or we could charge you extra, as somebody suggested.
That's right.
We're willing to answer any questions. And
I'd expect all councillors to make a big donation on top of it. Look, honestly, I hadn't even thought about it, but I will be definitely enrolling for one of these walks. So, and I just think that it would be a nice thing to do when I retire, which is, hopefully soon.
Well, we need some more guides, so you could come and try.
Yeah, no, I'd love to. I'd love to do the training. It's not my evil twin, that's my other twin. Ref.
Thank you. Settle down. Thanks very much for coming in. The question I've actually, just remind me, what is the old information centre? Which building is that?
It's the building currently occupied by DOC, between the kiosk and the new visitors centre.
That's not helping me.
Oh, yeah. So you go over the footbridge where you park your car. Yeah. You go over the footbridge. You've got the tea house in front of you that's being repaired, and it's the building to your left.
Oh, okay.
On your way down to the.
So what?
It's used by DOC, and we actually do use the back part of it for our training at the moment.
And so how many hours a week would you need it for, or do you want it as a permanent place?
We want it at least once a month, but we'd also like to be able to invite groups in for lectures to use there. And the Friends of Botanic Gardens have some of their public meetings there also.
So what would happen with DOC?
Sorry?
What would happen with DOC?
Apparently DOC is moving out, as far as we know, at some stage. Eventually.
They just work in the front as we work at the back. We just pull the curtain.
Right.
We're not asking for exclusive use of this place. I mean, we think it's a community education centre would be its use.
Okay. Yanni.
Don't want to get in trouble with the Mayor again, but this is again another one of those stories where history, the purpose of the new visitor centre was for exactly the work that you were doing.
Correct.
It was never supposed to be for commercialised work. So, I mean, I just wonder whether we need to think about how we use that new facility to help you do the work that you're doing, rather than put you into the old second-hand facility.
We always dreamed of being in the new building, but realise it's not a reality because of the other commitments to the building and the size of the building.
So, but if we went back to the original purpose for which it was built, which was visitor information, education, community engagement with the gardens, is there any things that we could do within that new building that would help you?
Extend it.
Right.
Okay, Paul.
We are currently fixing the old tea kiosk, and the front part, the hexagonal part of that kiosk, hasn't yet got a purpose. Is that something you would consider usable for what you want to use it for?
Absolutely.
We don't mind which space.
We don't mind. We just want a space in the gardens.
Yeah. Tim?
I think, Alan, did you have a comment?
No, it's all right.
Thank you. I think your suggestion of the old building is an absolutely fantastic one. It was used for education anyway by the rangers. You used to sell your flowers. It's got high foot traffic. Yep. Those plants that you propagated and grew, and it raised funds for you guys. Yep. It was probably the single best place to have plants and sales. I think it's a great idea using a building that's already there. We've got to get other things from the other buildings, but I think it's a fantastic suggestion, and should be certainly be taken up with the management. Thank you.
Madam Chair, if I could just add, the Friends of the Botanic Gardens, the chairman sitting behind me, said that they have money to outfit that information centre to suit the purposes that you might have for it.
And sorry, the old centre which you're talking about was actually they did run education there, so I mean it's almost ready to go for you as it is.
Well, I did education centre things there 25 years ago, so it's going around in a whole circle.
Right. Yeah.
And we would love to sell plants too.
Ali.
Yeah, on that note, that very note, I love the wheelbarrow. Marvellous.
Can you say that louder?
They don't want to hear me shout that. Your point that you make in your submission about, and I don't want to point fingers or witch hunt or anything like that, but the staff who are at the ILEX, it's too much of an inconvenience to manage the plants and things like that. Is there any reason why, because you've got it placed just on its own over by the, past the ILEX when it's there, is there any reason why it couldn't be placed more on the approach to the ILEX, or are you restricted in where you can put it?
We actually only were supporting that submission. I think that submission is coming up more on Tuesday night.
Right.
And I think since the submission there has been some work done on that, and there is some advance on that situation.
Towards what you're suggesting.
There are plants in there that people will never have seen.
That is true. That is true.
Excellent. So I do apologise that not all of us have the history and the memory of people that have been here for a long time. So, I feel really caught up on this, and we're definitely coming down on one of the walks, that's for sure. I usually do a walk through the park and the gardens on a Sunday afternoon, so maybe I'll just come at 1:30 instead of 4.
Oh, I'm sorry, it's not on at the moment, but I'm
no,
happy to come and do it for you.
At a later time.
Lovely. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.